How's it going, everybody? It's Daniel. I'm back with another video. Today I just wanted to kind of do just a bit of a rant, I would say, or just a dump of how much I really like the show The Penguin. If you haven't seen The Penguin, it's the newest installment into the Matt Reeves universe of the Batman series. So if you've seen the Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson, then you'll pretty much be right at home with this show. The Penguin's an HBO show. If you don't already know, it's an HBO Max show. I got 2 episodes out already. The third episode will be out tomorrow, Sunday. By the time this video is up, it'll most likely be up within the day. But I wanted to just talk a little bit about how much I really like this show and how much I didn't expect to really like this show. I have an example scene that I wanted to kind of show off. It'll probably get me demonetized, but it really doesn't matter at this point in time. It really helps me portray what I'm trying to say here. So I wanted to go through just what I like about the show, a couple theories that I have going forward, and what I think is going to happen in the next Batman installment, which is supposed to be the Batman Part 2. So this is going to have some spoilers in it for those first 2 episodes of The Penguin. Maybe not too many, but for the most part, it will have spoilers. And also, I'm going to talk a little bit about The Batman as a whole as well, which if you haven't seen it already, I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil a little bit of it for you as well. But going into it, I just wanted to talk a little bit about how good I feel like this show actually is. It feels very underrated because I don't think a lot of people really loved the Batman. I think it took a certain type of Batman fan to enjoy the Batman, Matt Reeves' Batman. I just recently rewatched the Batman, and there are moments of the movie that are pretty slowly paced and could use a little bit of a rework. But for the most part, the movie portrays Batman, portrays the villains that it does show very well, and ends on a really good note to kind of entice you to watch the Penguin. So if you don't recall, at the end of the Batman kind of proves that he's more than just vengeance. He's a figure for Gotham. He can save Gotham. He can be that light at the end of the tunnel for these people, while also narrating and talking about how, like, now that Falcone is gone, there's going to be other criminals that rise up. There's going to be new people that come up and try to take over the city. And with that is where the Penguin starts. The Penguin takes place about a week or 2 weeks after the Batman. So the city is practically destroyed from what the Riddler did. And now we're just following Colin Farrell's Penguin throughout the entire, the next couple weeks. And that's where the Penguin begins. The Penguin begins with him looking out that window at the end of the Batman and thinking about what he can do now. What is the next step in the crime family? How can he take over? And that's pretty much what these first 2 episodes is about, is Penguin making a big mistake in the beginning of the first episode by killing Alberto Falcone, who is Falcone's son, who's taking over the family. He kills him out of just pure, honestly, it was spontaneous. I don't think he meant to do it. I think it was just one of those, like, I'm crazy on the inside and now I'm snapping, and he shoots Alberto. And then worst comes to worst, he kind of has to weave his way in and out of the family, especially now that Sophia Falcone, the hangman, is back from Arkham. She's kind of under him right now, looking and kind of just looking for every little detail to find the person who killed her brother, or why her brother's missing for that case. But at the end of the first episode, we saw that the Penguin put a plan together to have Alberto's body ported over to Sophia so she would think that it was the Maronis. It's a big thing. The Penguin is pretty much manipulating two families against each other again, and he's going to weave his way into it, weasel his way in and out, and kind of take over as he goes. Now, I just want to say the whole show is a damn Sopranos knockoff, pretty much. It's pretty much Sopranos in a way. I mean, Sopranos had its own, like, thing going on, but this is a mob movie, or a mob show all together. Like, there's F-bombs, there's blood, there's people getting chopped up. There's so many mature elements here that are very, like, reminiscent of shows like Sopranos, or like, for example, Goodfellas. These elements that are all put together in this one show, and they do it so well. And obviously, being a little bit of a nerd, it being in Gotham and being, in the Matt Reeves universe, it just entices me. It's so much fun. I didn't expect this to be a show that I hooked to really all that well. I thought this would be like a shitty one-off show, and whatever, it's just going to get us to Batman Part 2. But I really do think that this show has the potential to make a bridge between Batman Part 1 and Batman Part 2 and make it where people are going to want to watch this to get some insight into Batman Part 2. Obviously, nothing major has really happened in these first two episodes of The Penguin to really like, they haven't mentioned Batman. They mentioned the Riddler a lot. There's a lot of Riddler people still walking around, a lot of followers of the Riddler still going around. Obviously, at the end of the Batman Part 1, we saw so many of Riddler's guys. He had 500 followers that all showed up to like the Madison Square Garden or whatever to cause havoc and everything like that, which in the long run, I think is cool that they show in the Penguin that there's still guys that support Riddler. There's still people that are like really enticed by the idea of taking over the city and everything. So we're seeing in the Penguin the different factions of Gotham being formed. So like for example, when you play games like Arkham City or like Arkham Knight, you go around in different factions for each big bad guy around. You got Penguin's guys over here, you got Joker's guys over here, you got Two-Face's guys, etc. So that's kind of what we're seeing being built in the Penguin right now, and that's what I really like about this is it's not about Batman, but it does have something to do with what Batman's going to deal with in part 2, I feel like. So at the end of Batman Part 1, we saw the Joker and Riddler talking in their prison cells respectively about everybody loves a good comeback story. We're going to make a comeback, this kind of stuff, which a lot of people thought that originally the next bad guy in the Batman movie was going to be either Mr. Freeze, Hush, or like just Bane or something like that. I have reason to believe that it's going to be 3 bad guys. We're going to have Riddler coming back and working with Penguin maybe to make things happen in the city. And then I also think that the Joker is going to be a side bad guy that's kind of there, but he's not going to be an explosive bad guy. He's kind of be like pulling strings in the background, but he's not going to be the main focus. I think the Joker is going to be the main focus in the next installment that Matt Reeves does. Maybe Matt Reeves does a Batman Part 2 because he does have a plan to do another sub-series, a limited series. So maybe that'll be the Joker show. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it'll show how Joker became fucked up and like why his face is so disfigured and everything like that. I'm not sure exactly, but from what I'm seeing from the Penguin, this formula works so far. Like this formula really works. Like it's very enriched with lore. It's very like enticing to watch because Colin Farrell does so well at portraying the Penguin. It's ridiculous. And that's what I wanted to show you in one of the scenes here, how like the vibe of the show, the camera angles, the way he plays the character really, really, really pulls you in as a fan. I'll show that in just a minute here, but I did just want to talk about the second episode of the Penguin. Second episode was amazing. It was everything I expected, and more. It shows a lot of the Penguin kind of getting a little deeper into the manipulation that he's doing right now. And it shows a lot of like his improvisation. So like one thing goes wrong, he realizes, wait, I can't do that plan anymore. And he ends up stabbing a guy to death. And that guy ends up being the person that they, it all becomes a big thing. But his improvisation and the way he's using Sophia Falcone in her time of being the most like unhinged is very, very, very smart. Like the way it's all being put together is very smart. It's really fun to see. I wanted to talk a little bit also about Victor is the kid that Penguin picks up in the first episode and kind of is using him as like a right-hand man, kind of put him under his no pun intended, his wing, and kind of teaching him the ropes of being a mobster. Vic is a good kid. He's you can tell he doesn't have this criminal origin to him. He's not trying to be a bad guy. And Penguin is trying to push him into that. He's trying to push him deeper into the criminal world and kind of make his right-hand man. My theory on Vic, and I'm not sure if this is a theory that's going around, but my first initial thought when he put Vic in the whole like mold of it all, I think Vic is going to be a future Robin. I think obviously we don't have a Robin that's named Victor at all, but Robin in most cases is a troubled youth. Batman picks a troubled youth kid and teaches him, and like almost like a kid that reminds him of himself. And Vic is a kid so far that I think his family died in the floodings. We got a little hint that he's getting calls from somebody named Gracia or great. I don't know what her name is, Gracias, whatever her name is. He's getting a call from somebody, but he's not answering the phone. So that might be his mom, his grandmother, somebody, his girlfriend or something. But I have a feeling that Vic is going to be a big part of the Batman Part 2. I have a feeling that when Penguin is like one of the main bad guys of Part 2, I think Vic is going to betray him because Batman maybe takes him under his wing and teaches him some stuff. Um, it's just it fits that mold. You know, he's a good kid at heart. He's just being put down the wrong path pretty much, and that is kind of like it's kind of loading up like it's beginning to form a mold of like a Robin in some cases, in my opinion. I might be wrong about that. Maybe he turns out to be like Two-Face or like somebody like a Scarecrow. I'm not sure. Maybe he's a Victor Zsasz. Who knows? I'm not too sure. But as of right now, I think Vic is definitely going to become a Robin. We'll see in the next episode how that evolves a little bit more, but it seems right now that he's being like pretty much made to be like a big side character that's going to have some type of impact in this show or in the Batman Part 2. Now, I wanted to really quick before I end the video give you just a scene that really really pulled me into the show. Really, like this scene here really, and I'm watching through YouTube TV. I have Max through YouTube TV. This part of the show, this is right after Penguin kills a guy and kind of improvs his way into like killing somebody and then planting a knife on one of Sophia's main men, showing that Sophia is a little bit too unhinged where she's willing to just kill somebody immediately without getting any answers. So the Uncle Luca kind of denounces her, tells her to go away. She can't be a part of the family type shit anymore. And that kind of unhinges her more. And that was what Penguin wanted in the long run. In the long run, he wanted to unhinge Sophia a little bit, to get a little deeper into her psyche, to get a little deeper into having her help him take over a little. I also think that Sophia being unhinged is just convenient for him. I think he's taking advantage of convenience, rather than like maybe more so that he's getting lucky and he's just improving, and that shows just how smart and clever he really is by like taking advantage of the little wins, the little tiny things that'll get him little wins to get him to the top. I don't necessarily mean like, oh, he's manipulating her purposely. He knows exactly what's going to happen here and there. I don't think that's the case. I think he's just getting very lucky with the way she's being looked at like a villain all the time by the family, and how he's kind of just able to sneak around and cause these types of things to happen inadvertently a little bit. Now, I think Sophia's got some shit going on that she's not talking about. I think we'll see later on that she knows the Penguin's being a fuckhead. But I also think Sophia is going to be a big part of Part 2, Batman Part 2 as well, because her character, the lady playing her, I forget her name, but she's in How I Met Your Mother. She is a great actress. Like, she's really good at playing Sophia. The vibe that she portrays, the darkness that she brings to the role, how like there's moments of her being a little unhinged, and it's almost like the Penguin's taking advantage of her unhingedness because everybody thinks that she's crazy, but in reality, she's just trying to figure out what happened to her brother. She's trying to figure out why the family is being torn apart right now. The Falcones are being torn apart so badly right now. There's got to be an inside man. Obviously, we know it's Penguin, but she's sniffing it out. Everybody thinks she's crazy, but she's actually the most sane person in the whole show when it comes down to it. And that right there is indicative of what Batman villains are. Batman villains are crazy, but they have a purpose. Like, they know, Riddler, for example. I'm going to blow up the fucking city, and I'm going to expose, obviously blowing up the city's fucked up, but I'm going to expose the underlining problem with Gotham. It's the politicians. It's the issues that are underliningly ruining the entire city, the entire architect of the entire city. Penguin is fun to watch because Penguin himself, you want to root for him. You really do, because he takes Vic under his wing. He's a funny guy. He's not like too spontaneous. He knows his friends, and he's a cool dude. You want to root for him. You really do, but he's a bad guy. He's going to be even worse down the road. And a scene like this really portrays that, because throughout the whole show, you're rooting for this guy. You want him to take over because he's going to take over anyway, but you want him to succeed in a way. And that's something that the writing in the show does really well, is moments like this where he's got Vic digging a grave for him, and Vic is like just about to get out of the grave, and he kicks Vic back into the grave, and he's pretty much giving him a lecture on like, if you can't get the job done like I want you to, because Vic fucked up and didn't steal the jewels that he was asked to steal. If you've watched the episode, you'll know. I don't want to show everything and spoil everything, but you still got to watch the show to really get all of the everything out of it. But Vic was told to steal some jewels and plant them somewhere else. Vic got caught, ran away, ended up fucking it all up. It's just because he's inexperienced, doesn't know. But right after that, Penguin has him digging graves for these two guys that he killed. And as Vic's trying to get out of the grave, Penguin kicks him back into the grave, lecturing him, pretty much telling him like, hey, if you can't get the job done, then you're fucking dead to me. Like, you're done for. And this scene right here gives the Heisenberg effect, where it's like, man, you're really rooting for Walter White. But then he goes and he kills a kid, or he goes and fucks Jesse over, or he does this or he does that, and then you're like, man, this guy's kind of a dickhead, man. Like, he's kind of awful. You know, he's kind of a terrible character. And this scene here really gives you that. It really made me feel like a gut feeling of, man, he's slowly devolving into like this monster. And that's how Batman villains normally are. And in a way, if you think about the way Penguin is portrayed in this, it's similar to how Batman's portrayed in The Batman. The more he becomes Batman, the less he is Bruce Wayne. The more his persona takes over who he really is. So who really is Batman and Bruce Wayne? Who is Bruce Wayne? Is he Batman or is he Bruce Wayne? That's what we're looking at with Oz here with Penguin, where it's like, he's Oz, but we're slowly seeing him become someone else. And it's like hard to watch because you like the character a lot, but you know deep down he's got to be the bad guy. He's going to be the bad guy. So I'm going to get to the scene really quick here, and I'll play the audio too for you guys. That way you can at least, let me make sure the audio is playing correctly. Yep, we're good. So, okay.
Where you belong.
So Vic is like confused. He's like, why are you doing this to me? Look at how much like the Penguin he actually looks, though. He looks like the Danny DeVito Penguin in a lot of ways, just without all the goofy makeup and everything. Tells him to lay down on top of the dead bodies, you know, scaring him to death, asking him how it feels. Like, it's just, it's so enriched with the character.
That's a one-way street, Vic. You know how close I got to get popped tonight? Because you fucked up.
And up to this point, up to this point, Penguin has been really cool to this guy. He's been really nice to him. He hasn't really lashed out on him. There's been a couple moments where like they get food and he's like, oh, why'd you get it with cilantro on it? What the fuck, Vic? But he's still a nice, charming guy. In this case, this is full Penguin. This is full on, like, this is who Batman is going to face down the road. This isn't just like the lackey Penguin. This isn't just the Penguin that's just the right-hand man to Falcone anymore. This is a guy that is devolving into a monster. He's literally becoming the monster that we...
I'm sorry.
My cat's going crazy.
You know what? Fuck apologizing.
Look at him. Like, just right here. Like, look at how much like a monster he looks just because the camera angle that they chose to use for him. And that's a positive towards the makeup department too, because the makeup department did so good at making him look the part, like look so good. And originally when I watched the first Batman the first time, I thought to myself, like, damn, the Riddler doesn't look as good as I'd want him to look. He doesn't have his top hat, he doesn't have his cane and his stupid suit, but they gave him a grounded look. And that's kind of how Penguin looks here. He doesn't need a bunch of stupid makeup. He doesn't need to look like just a goof like in the Tim Burton movies. Now, the Tim Burton movies were good. They were just more cartoony and a little bit more comic booky. This is more like dark, gritty Batman style Penguin.
That. You gotta respond to the environment, the situation. You gotta think on your feet. You gotta be quick. Otherwise, this is what happens.
The way Vic looks at him, you can tell Vic is scared of him, man. He sees a monster.
Goddamn time. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah? Mm-hmm.
Now, here's my favorite part.
Oh, fuck it. Hey, come on, get up.
He helps him. And as soon as the camera goes back to eye-to-eye level, when they get back on eye-to-eye level, he doesn't look as much like a monster anymore. And that right there should show you that there is a deep, secret darkness in this guy that's slowly unraveling. It's slowly coming out. And the closer he gets to becoming the Penguin, the real Penguin, the one that runs the city, the more monstrous he looks, the more of a monstrosity he becomes. And I got to give it to Matt Reeves for making this character the way he made him, I got to give it to Colin Farrell for the way he plays this character. And I got to give it to the writing in general for making him so relatable, yet such a monster in all the different ways. It is so good. I don't want to show much more, but this entire show so far, I can't wait for the next episode. And I just wanted to sit down and talk about it a little bit with you guys. I know it's a bit of a longer video, but I just wanted to show you guys how I'm feeling about the show. This show is really good. I recommend watching it. Episode 3 is tomorrow. And oh my God, I can't wait. Maybe I'll talk about it if people want to hear me talk about it a little bit more. But all in all, I think this show is amazing. I think this is a perfect chef's kiss. If you were upset that the Batman was PG-13, I wanted it to be rated R myself, but Batman movies got to be PG-13 to get more people in the theaters for it. I think if you wanted an R-rated version of that, this is it right here. This is the Gotham, the same characters, just in a more adult setting, more of a mobster setting. So sit down, enjoy this show. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Let me know what you guys took from these last 2 episodes that came out. Did you like the Batman? Do you like Matt Reeves's story so far? So far, I think this is a really fun story. The only things I really didn't like about the Batman was I thought it was a little slow at times. I thought the action was a little underwhelming. And sometimes Robert Pattinson doesn't fit the Batman look to me, but I like Robert Pattinson. I like the characters he has around him. I think this entire thing is showing, I think the entire Batman series is going to show you how good villains can be made while also keeping them grounded. So, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks.